Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. First, I want to thank all the new subscribers who have been tuning in. We're up to 60 subscribers on the channel, which I know is nothing compared to the bigger channels, but it's almost doubled in a month and a half, and I couldn't be more grateful to you all. I also want to welcome all the new players from the free PlayStation Plus offer and Steam half-price sale. People seem to be getting good use out of these class videos, and I'm happy to be making them. This is part 1 of my Enforcer Survival Guide, where we'll be discussing the Death Trooper, the B-2 Battle Droid, the Wookiee Warrior, and the First Order Flametrooper. First, we'll talk about their weapons. This is a short discussion. B-2's Wrist Blaster and the Death Trooper's E-11D rifle make them highly accurate at range, and if you maximize headshots, you can absolutely wreck opposing players. Meanwhile, the Wookiee Warrior and First Order Flametrooper have weapons that do very little damage at range, but do a lot of damage in close quarters. This distinction changes how best to use the different enforcers in different situations, which we'll get into when we talk about the tactics later. For now, let's get into their abilities. Each of the enforcers have an explosive ability, or a grenade of some kind. The Death Trooper's Sonic Imploder is like an upgraded flash grenade, which also deadens sound for opposing players and does a small amount of damage. It used to mark enemies for opponents, but this ability has since been removed since it was very much like Rey's Insight ability. The Wookiee Warrior has the Thermal Imploder, which is basically an upgraded version of the Thermal Detonator for the Assault class. The range of this grenade has famously been nerfed, so I'm not sure how much larger a radius it actually has, but I do know it is larger. They also removed a star card which granted a larger radius to the grenade abilities, but I think this was done because as they introduced more units to the Enforcer class who didn't have grenade abilities, they wanted to make sure that all the cards were equally useful across the board. The First Order Flametrooper's Incendiary Imploder is a highly useful grenade in close quarter situations and tends to clear an area rather quickly, because not only does it do the initial fire damage, but it also has a burn effect that lasts a short amount of time even after you clear the area. The B-2's Wrist Rocket has the smallest radius of area damage, but it's a missile, so you can launch it farther and more accurately. The Overload ability is shared by 5 of the 7 Enforcer units, but we're going to leave the Droideka till the next video. For the Death Trooper and B-2, this greatly increases the fire rate of the weapon and grants unlimited cooling for a short period of time. In congested areas, these abilities are useful for doing a lot of damage quickly and are useful against enemy heroes. They work essentially like the Heavy Class Sentry, but don't last as long. However, they refresh quicker than the Sentry ability. For the Wookiee Warrior, it tightens the spread of the bowcaster and increases the damage, and for the Flametrooper, it dials up the intensity and range of the flamethrower for a limited time. In all 4 cases, the overload limits unit mobility, so be cautious when and where you employ the overload ability. Lastly, we have a tactical ability, and this used to be the same for all 4 units, and that is the Fortify ability, which boosts a unit's health for a short time. This can be useful when close to death if you need to make a quick escape, but it's even better when you are about to use your overload and need to increase your resistance to damage, or if you're about to engage a group of enemies. The Wookiee Warrior used to have this ability, but that has been changed to Slam, which is a lot like Chewbacca's ability. Only instead of starting the run and triggering the slam like Chewie, the Wookiee Warrior simply does it immediately. This is incredibly useful to knock down groups of enemies or enemy heroes. Now let's take a look at the star cards. Each Enforcer has 5 boost cards. Survivalist grants faster health regeneration up to 100 per second. Enforcer Training grants a small amount of health for each defeated enemy to a maximum of 50. Expert Weapons Handling keeps your overload ability active up to 66% longer. Acquisition, where enemies dealing damage to you will be temporarily marked for easier retaliation. Retaliation, that's not even a word. Acquisition, where enemies dealing damage to you will be temporarily marked for easier retaliation up to a maximum of 7 seconds. And Battle Hardened, which grants a maximum health increase up to 20%. And now we'll talk about the tactics. As I mentioned before, the Death Trooper and B-2 Battle Droid are useful at range. The best approach is to play as a support character beside a number of teammates. Use your Sonic Imploder to either scatter the enemy or do some area damage at or near the objective. Step up to the front of a group in a congested area, activate your Fortify and Overload, and wreak destruction on the enemy, then back up and play from behind. You already have more health than a heavy class, and with the Battle Hardened card you have even more. You do more good for your team when you stand back and use your range to keep enemies at bay. The longer you stay alive, the more damage you can do. Plus, with the acquisition card, any enemy who shoots at you is marked, so you always know where the enemy is. With the Wookiee Warrior and Flametrooper, being in the thick of things is always better. You want to move in and out of cover to reduce the damage you take, and no Enforcer makes an opposing hero run like a Flametrooper. The Flamethrower does a high amount of damage and obscures your opponent's view. You want to be careful, but with either unit, you will do more damage up close. Use that Overload ability when enemies are clustered or when encountering enemy heroes. If you're a Flametrooper, suck it up and get in their face. If you're a B2 or Death Trooper, it's best to retreat if possible. Remember, you're of better use to your teammates when you stay alive. It's not like you're a base class and can just respawn over and over and over. The battle points cost puts the Enforcer at a premium, and the more time they spend on the battlefront, the better for your team. If you're not going to play the objective and are just trying to get kill streaks with your Enforcer, go play Blast or Co-op and leave it to the ones who want to contribute, okay? As always, the best mode to level up quickly, especially as a beginner or casual player, is Supremacy. First, area capture objectives are the easiest to play because all you have to do is be in the zone. You will gain more points and XP and get bonuses for kills while in the objective zone. Supremacy rounds last the longest of any mode, so you will very naturally get more kills and more XP. Plus, with enemy AI bots, you will win more 1v1 scenarios. With the advent of co-op mode, it is now a great option for leveling up your classes and heroes. Of course, it's been in there for a long time, but this script is pretty old. You still earn XP and credits, and fighting waves of enemies really teaches you how to play situationally. Do damage to enemy vehicles and heroes as much as possible, and focus on any destructible objectives. These gain more points than against infantry, so keep that in mind. Lastly, you can get double XP on the weekends and triple XP every Wednesday. You will level up so much faster if you play more during those periods. Remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to make sure you receive more news and analysis such as this. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee at the link in the channel description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.